Today I'm going to be making a peanut noodle bowl. And this is delicious and it's also really easy. I think it would make a really good lunch option for you. So the base of it is going to be some sort of noodle. So a whole grain pasta noodle, a rice noodle, whatever type of noodle that you like can work in here. I'm going to use coleslaw mix. You can use a bag of this, really affordable, like $1.99 at the grocery store. So a nice budget-friendly option. If you want to just buy cabbage and shred it yourself, add some carrots in, that can work too. But I'm going to use this out of ease. And then a protein source. And so I have cubed and cooked some tofu. This is a extra firm tofu that I drizzled with a little olive oil, soy sauce, and some cornstarch, and then I baked it in the oven. I'll put the recipe for this in the description. But if you're not into tofu, if you're into tofu, this is delicious. If you're not, some sort of cooked protein, so leftover cooked chicken, lean steak, anything like that could work fine in here. So pick the protein that you like. And then I'm going to make a peanut sauce for ours. But if that feels more complicated than you have time for in your life at the moment, or that week or that day, feel free to buy a bottled peanut sauce. That can work as well, right? If shortcuts help you to make a meal and get it on the table versus having to buy something out, that can usually be still a better option. Okay, so let's make our peanut sauce as my pasta is cooking. All right, I like to make this in a jar because I think it just makes it easy to shake it up. So we need 2 tablespoons of a nut butter. So peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter, whatever you like. I'm using almond butter today. We have a peanut allergy in our house, so we don't use a ton of peanut butter. But either one are going to work wonderfully in here. So 2 tablespoons. Again, this doesn't make a huge volume, so feel free to double it if you need more. Might need a spoon to kind of get the remnants out of here. And it can be like a flexible 2 tablespoons. You don't need to be exact here. Or a fork if all your spoons are in the dishwasher. Again, cooking needs to be flexible for us to continue doing it. So offer yourself flexibility in the kitchen. All right, so we got 2 tablespoons of our nut butter in there. And now 1 to 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. I'm going to go with 2. And then I'll taste it at the end and let you know if that was too much, but I think it's going to be a good ratio. And this is a reduced sodium soy sauce. I like to buy this one. Again, soy sauce and the reduced sodium are still both high in salt, but this one's a little bit less. So great flavor, just use sparingly if you're sensitive to sodium. Excuse me. 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar. You could use white vinegar if you don't have rice vinegar, but I would just use half the amount because it's more pungent, or you could use lime juice. So any of those would be options. And then a tablespoon of maple syrup or honey. I'm using maple syrup because my honey was at the end of the container and it was kind of thick and it felt like it was going to be hard to pour out. So I like honey and maple syrup both in this recipe. Either one's going to work. Okay. Now some ginger or garlic for flavor. I have these little frozen ginger cubes that I want to use, although it's fairly frozen. But I think with the hot water in here, it's going to be okay. We'll see. I might need to let it sit for a minute. If you don't have this, you can use a powdered ginger as well. Probably 1/4 of a teaspoon in this volume is going to work well. And then 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, or feel free to use a fresh minced garlic. And lastly, if you like spice and you're not serving this to kids who don't like spice, hit it with a little bit of sriracha or hot sauce is going to be delicious. Just maybe start with a 1/4 teaspoon, depending on how much you like for spice. We can always add more, but we can't take it away. If you don't have that, but you have red chili flakes, those would be good in here as well. Okay. And the last thing in here we need is just about 1 to 2 tablespoons of hot water to help this, especially the peanut butter, and if you used honey, soften a little bit so it blends well. This is a great sauce that you can just make ahead when you have the time. And then when you're serving or getting ready to pull dinner together, my cover go? Oh, this is funny. I'm surprised it fit. I put my ball jar cover on the almond butter. Well, there you go. I guess they're the same size. Okay. So now just give your sauce a good shake. If it's not blending, if the water wasn't quite warm enough to warm it all up, just take the metal top off and put it in the microwave for 15 to 20 seconds and then shake it up. But it should blend nicely. All right, so there is our peanut sauce. I'm gonna get my noodles in, get those cooked up, and then I'll be back to put it all together. Okay, so my noodles are done boiling here, and I'm just gonna strain them, not rinse them. I want them hot still. And so I've got my 2 cups of cabbage here, and I'm gonna put the hot steamy noodles right in. This is an optional step, but I like how it helps to soften up the cabbage. It tenderizes it a little bit. Just give that a toss. And if you want to substitute a different vegetable in here, feel free. It may change the method. You might just want to kind of keep the noodles as their own and then maybe put in some, you could do something like cucumbers and carrots and red pepper. You would just kind of want to keep them on the raw and crunchy side. Or if you wanted to really do like a steamed vegetable, you could do that too. Okay, so there is our noodle veggie mix. And so we've got our base here, and then I've got my tofu, and then we've got our sauce. If you are going to eat this right away, I would mix it all together and it's going to be delicious. If you want to meal prep, maybe you put the noodles and the tofu in, and then you bring your sauce and put it on when you want to serve it. It's probably better to kind of sauce it in the hour or two before you're going, or right away before you're going to eat it, rather than kind of letting it sit in there. I think it'll do a little bit better to serve that way. Now my sauce, I hadn't tried it when I made it earlier, and so I just tasted it, and to me it's a little sweet. And so what I'm going to do, and I want to show you this so that when you taste yours, you can adjust it as you want. And mine's also a little bit on the thin side. My almond butter is a little thinner than a traditional peanut butter, and so that might be part of it. So I'm going to put 1 more tablespoon of almond butter in, and I will reflect these changes in the recipe in the description. And then I'm going to add another tablespoon of rice vinegar because this is going to help balance the sweetness. And I'll also put a range for the sweetener in the ingredients too. So if you don't like your peanut sauce too sweet, feel free to just cut back on that volume. I was also thinking I'd like a little more heat in mine too, but I'm going to save that for when I serve myself so that the kids who don't want the spiciness will have the option to still use the sauce. All right. All right, so let's serve this up. And then use the amount of sauce that works for you. It's probably going to be a couple tablespoons per dish. Other additional garnishes that would be delicious on here. If you like cilantro, maybe some chopped cilantro. A squeeze of lime would be really good here. Maybe some chopped peanuts, a little extra hot sauce. Any of those would be delicious. So whatever you like. But remember, flexible recipe. We've got the noodles, we've got the slaw, and we have a cooked protein of your choice. And then this delicious homemade peanut sauce. Or if you're in a time crunch and want to do something even easier, try some bottled sauces and see what you like. But great meal, great dinner, great thing to bring to lunch the next day also.